I know you boys can't wait for this one. PINKROID versus Guts. Let's do it.
Oh my god, the repeat of last year's Europe Cup. But will it be a battle of vengeance or inevitability this time? We have Guts versus PINKROID. Say pre-bans coming in. Will we see any respect on an Antares pre-ban? I think not, but let's throw it out in the universe.
I don't think so. I think Pinky will go for the Oliver pre-ban, goes for the Miles pre-ban, and the respect is on the Tian Lang, which is definitely the strongest LD5 unit of PINKROID. Miles pre-ban is probably a unit that PINKROID says, I don't like to play against it, rather than Guts picking it up a lot. This gives Guts the opportunity to go for a first big speed lead. Kind of expected an Olive in there, but more is definitely a good speed lead as well. PINKROID, or what are you going to do? Actually goes for that Hey Gang. I've recently seen him drafting a lot of Hey Gang. Actually takes that away. Goes for a Sekhmet early. That's a pretty interesting draft. Nope, takes that away as well. Takes away both. PINKROID is not too decisive on that. Actually goes for the Oliver and that Hey Gang. Locks them in. Let's see where that goes.
I'm thinking if you hear me say, you just need to let me know. I'm just trying to get my voice back on the stream to get through these things. And here we go. Oh, quick response through with Escher and Chongpeng.
Asher and Chongpeng definitely signaling a lot of speed. PINKROID is also answering that with a lot of speed, which is going to be the Athena, but also the Marcia. Very strong against those pushback units. Definitely a unit we've seen more in previous seasons, but also still a unit that's very strong in this moment. And we have a Shizuka being picked up. Are you going to go more on the passive route in this case, Guts? Or are you going to say like, okay, I'll go more for a little bit more sustain, a little bit more bruisery, a little bit more like a Wusa or anything like that? Or are you going to say like, nah, the Raccoon kind of fits in here? Or maybe a Juno. Those are both very well fitting units. Goes for a Robo.
For a Wind Robo, eh?
Wind Robo definitely signaling that, saying like, okay, I'm gonna keep that Hey Gang in, potentially, because the Robo technically counts the Hey Gang. But we see that Raccoon on the opposing side, which is very much a very well pick. Juno, similar style, very much a very well pick. Both fire units are definitely going to be the focus of the ban, I would say. However, on the other side, you can go for quite a bunch of bans. There's quite a bunch of units that I would say like, okay, are somewhat fitting for that ban.
Here we are, we have the Maw ban, we have the Juno ban going in with speed lead for Pinky and the HP lead for Guts. We're kicking things off in the last quarterfinals of today's Europe preliminary. PINKROID, Guts, let's see who's got the marbles.
So definitely having that Athena going for the first and cannot land that armor break on the Asher. That was the main potential that it was going for. Would have been a desirable outcome. In this case, we can actually stun out that Robo. Asher boosting up, cannot do anything right now. Currently, if this Hey Gang is stripping everything, it's super desirable, but doesn't go for a strip on everything though. Shizuka is going to move next, but this Masha is going to do a lot of damage, and that's where we see the rune quality of PINKROID, saying like, okay, you have some strong units, you have some wind units on the field, but that Masha is making simple work of those units. Having the Oliver with the proc did not get the increased cooltime on that second hit, or actually the third hit. That's how many times Oliver goes. So we can see that third skill going on a 4-turn cooldown. We can use the second skill right now, but it's going to take a little bit longer to get those skills back. But PINKROID doesn't need any of those skills. He's very far in the match already, and we're looking at a 2 against 4.
Wow, this is very, very clean from PINKROID. I think now for Guts, he has to think about what's probably going to be coming next, right? How does he keep this up?
Yeah, definitely has to be thinking about the next match already, because this one is definitely in the losing favor for Guts right now. What can you do to mix up the draft of PINKROID? Also, the big issue is, I think PINKROID is in the mind of Guts. He knows I've lost time and time again. I lost 3-0s, I lost 2-0s in prelims before, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely a 3-0 last year in the cup, and we have that victory for PINKROID. But for Guts, in the mindset of Guts, what do you have to do to beat PINKROID? I would definitely say mix up the whole draft, try something different. I know Guts is capable of that, and let's see how that goes for him.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting now to see, especially Pinky will now be able to use that Tian Lang if needed. And maybe PINKROID knew something that we didn't know about Guts with the Miles. So Miles could also be one of the picks that Guts is going to be focusing on pretty heavily. Maybe that's the reason why he changed up the draft style in that first match.
Yeah, could definitely be an option. In this case, I would say Guts has the potential to maybe go for a combination of the Oliver Miles, which he likes to play. But there's also very good odds for PINKROID to say like, okay, I do know that you like to play it, and I would pick up a first pick Oliver. We do see the bans on the Asher and the Hey Gang, both units used in the last round. Very well respectable units as well.
Exactly. Let's see then if Pinky does steal away the Oliver. as we're getting into it now. He's usually going to his favoured water Ryu.
Goes for the water Ryu, and actually, interestingly enough, the playmaker of last round, which was that Athena, is now on the side of Guts. PINKROID already answers that in a very different style than Guts did. Guts went for like, okay, we're kind of speedy units against it. PINKROID is saying right now, like, okay, nope, you take that first turn, I'll just sit back, I have that Raccoon, I have that Cardinal, I'll go later, but these units are very hard to control for a wind unit. Answered by Guts, very fascinating, like, okay, you have wind units, or you have fire units, hard to control by my wind unit, but I have 2 water units on the field, not necessarily super hard controlling them, but giving a lot of potential for the draft to make a very good 5th pick. PINKROID, what are you answering to this? I would say Juno definitely does fit. Tianlang might definitely fit as well. Or do you want to go for something slightly more healing on the field?
Here you go. You've already called one of them, say. So Juno is going to be coming out. I'm following it up with a Chungpung if he decides to lock it in, allowing Guts last pick here.
Chungpung is quite an interesting one, I would say. Chungpung is somewhat signaling of saying like, okay, your Athena is most likely on my target right now for the ban. And that is something that is sometimes somewhat tricky to do, because you see that 5th pick being like, okay, if the 5th pick is strong enough, I also have to ban that. Vertihile is always a dangerous unit to leave in the field. We see 4 units on the side of PINKROID with AoE skills, so that's a lot of potential for that Vertihile to counter those double hits and therefore go 40% attack bar every time that it goes for a counter. Bans on the Raccoon and the Praha. Interestingly enough, we go both sustainers on opposite sides, but we still have the Juno as the sustainer in there, and I do think that this Vert is gonna do a lot. So, second round, PINKROID and Guts. Who can take it home?
You've called it. You've called it. Verd's gonna do a lot. Let's see if he does do a lot in this one with Etna with first turn.
Manages to get the stun, very important. Do we get a counter on that Vert? Vert does not get a counter, and Chungpung says, stunned me? No, I'm fine, I'm here on that proc. Vert, however, still didn't go for a counter, so that's a twice 45 checker that didn't go off yet. Let's see if the Vert can potentially get stunned. No, we have a lot of damage going on. Vert, do you get stunned? Vert doesn't get stunned, but the Vert is still not moving whatsoever. Vert, you have to start doing something. We have a violent on that Ryu. And I think PINKROID was just testing the waters, like, hey, are you actually on revenge? Let me throw another hit to just give a try on that. Oh, you are revenge. You are revenge, but sorry, Vert, in this case, you're revenging one too late, and your whole team already kind of left the battlefield, or is not looking too healthy at this moment. So, once again, PINKROID, very strong in the drafting, very quick meets as well, which we have another unit leaving the battlefield, and another unit leaving the battlefield. Shizuka's the last to be leaving the battlefield, and that is a victory for PINKROID. Clean 2-0.
What a performance that was from the reigning champion.